Alright, so in this lecture we're going to be looking at variables. First of all, what is a variable? A variable is a container that holds content. So take for example we have a box, and in that box we want to put in, let's say, our shoe. So now at face value everyone sees the box but not the shoe, right? So it's until you open the box that's when you see the shoe. So how do we create variables in JavaScript? In order to create a variable, we have to use the keyword var, which stands for variable, right? And let's say I want to create a variable called name, which will store my name. And I'm just going to type in my name right there. Now you might be asking yourself, why did we create variables? Like what's the point of creating variables? So let's go back to this previous code where I printed hello world. If I want to print hello world again, I still need to come down and type console.log and copy hello world once again. So if I want to do this, I will just have to practically just type this. Now it's just 2 words, but assuming this was 100 words, I will have to just type them once or copy and paste over and over again. And copy and pasting sounds easy, but what if there was nothing like copy and paste? So that's the cool things about variables. You can store this item once and reuse them. So for example, I can come and log over here. So I'm just going to use the shortcut. Instead of writing console.log, you could just do that just by writing log and hit enter. Then you can say name. So the moment I save this now and run this code once more, we got name. Why didn't we get my name printed out? Well, that's because this is actually not a variable, but this is a string. Remember I said in the discussion that we had on Friday, I said whenever anything is enclosed in quotes, single quotes or double quotes, it's a string. So when the JavaScript interprets this code, it's gonna say, oh, it's enclosed in a string, right? So that is automatically, it's enclosed in quotes, so that is automatically a string. So in order to print this name right here, we just have to say name like that, and that way it's going to know that, oh, okay, this is a name, right? So the moment I run this, we can see it printed my name to the console. So it's actually different because now we've created it as a variable and not a string this time around. And the cool thing is we can actually come over here and print another thing like this. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say my name is and give a space and add name right there. So the moment I save this and run it again, you can see it printed out my name first of all, which is this command that we have here, and the next one is my name is Caleb right here. So you can see I didn't have to type my name over and over again. All I did was just save it once in a variable called name and reuse them over and over and over again. So now the cool thing with variables is that you can actually reassign them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and reassign it. So I'm just going to say name is equal to Jeff. Now if I save this, now look at what is going to happen. It says my name here, and it also changed it to Jeff. Now because JavaScript is forgiving, this is actually not necessary because we've already defined the variable, we've already declared it up here, so there's no point adding the identifier, which is this var. There's no point adding the identifier. We could just say name because we've already declared it. And the moment I run it again, we see my name is Jeff and we have Caleb Okpara at the first command. So now this is a variable and the data type assigned to this variable is a string. So now let's say we want to add the age. Alright, so we say 23 for example. Let's say we want to add, let's see, I want to add favorite food, favorite dish. Now I'm going to store an array. We're going to look at array later. but for now I'm just going to show you this is how you create an array. Remember I said array is a list that holds items. So this now is an array of strings. So whenever you see something like this, oh, it automatically say, okay, this is an array of strings. This one is a number, right? So it could be anything, even 23.2. I told you JavaScript is only going to treat it as a number, and it's not going to differentiate between floating numbers, doubles, or integers, right? But we know that this is actually a floating point number because it has a decimal. But JavaScript will still treat it as a number. So the whole category is a number. So we have different data types, and now when you use var, you can actually reassign the variable. But let's say we want to create something that never changes. So let's say date of birth, and we say, let's say 2010 for example. Now I'm using another identifier called const. So with const, is it's a constant. So a constant means once you declare it, you can't change the value of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to log to the console the date of birth, and later I'm going to try to say, okay, I made a mistake. Let's say this person was born 2013, and I try to log the date of birth once more. The moment I run this code, I'm going to get an error because assignment to constant variables which have already been assigned is not allowed. So once you create a constant, you can't reassign the constant. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so with var, we are forgiven because it's actually a variable, because a variable changes, right? The English word for definition for variable is things that changes. But now when we have a constant, it never changes. If you were born in 2010, for example, you are always going to be born in 2010. It's never going to change. So if we actually want to change this, we just need to say, okay, we need it to be a variable. And the moment I run it now, you can see we got 2010, 2013. And if you see the color coding now, this is actually a number. So that's why the color code changes. Alright, so we're not going to be looking at arrays for a while, but what I want to do is I want to start building our to-do list application. So what I'm going to do is to comment all this code out, and in the next lecture we are going to start building our to-do list application with the knowledge that we've had so far. See you in the next one.